Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm going to invite all our fabulous speakers to join us. And good morning. Thank you all so much for coming to the beautiful Hartford Public Library. Renovations are just amazing. Every time I come here, you are doing more, which is really, really great. And you can tell how impactful the library is when every one of those computer stations seems like it's got somebody working and celebrating Banned Books Week. And we really appreciate the Hartford Public Library for hosting us. This year's theme for Banned Book Week is Censorship Is So 1984, Read for Your Rights. Books have the power to take us to new worlds, introduce us to people and perspectives we might never encounter in our real life. They spark our imaginations and they help us to innovate and create. Increasingly, these opportunities are threatened, and we're seeing challenges for books that allow us to engage with stories that challenge our beliefs and encourage us to think critically. And so it's important that we acknowledge who is under attack because we know that titles representing the voices and lived experiences of the LGBTQ plus community and BIPOC people make up almost 50% of the books that are targeted by censorship attempts. A few years ago, in 2022, this book, who is RuPaul, was challenged in Colchester, Connecticut. So for those who say, oh, this doesn't happen in Connecticut, let me tell you, it really does. There were many censorship issues raised in municipal elections, including Newtown, Old Lyme, Suffield, and many other places. And those challenges came from individuals who were challenging books in public libraries and in school libraries. So for members of the marginalized communities, it's really important that they have the freedom to tell their stories without fear and read the stories of others in those communities. Everyone deserves to be heard and seen, and students who could have benefited by reading this book almost lost a learning experience. And interestingly, in the Colchester case, the Republican first selectman was behind one of the challenges, and he did not win re-election because that was just one of the issues that was discussed during the campaign. Because we know that according to the American Library Association, book banning challenges have decreased between 2023 and 2024, but we do think that there's underreporting of those challenges. 72% of the challenges are brought by organized groups and by government entities or elected officials. In Connecticut, we have done a lot to address this issue. We put policies in place, and maybe Representative Johnson will talk more about this, but there is now a state requirement in place so that every town and city must have a policy in place in case books are challenged in public libraries and public schools, so that there's a process by which determinations can be made about what can be read. I want to thank our legislators for being such strong advocates for librarians, and I want to thank our librarians because literally they help us preserve and protect our democracy. So I'm proud to stand with Connecticut librarians who really have been on the front lines of protecting the right to read. Education and access should have the right to do. We have to stand up to defend the freedom to read and learn and be our true selves without fear. Books have so much to teach us, and we have to keep our minds open to new ideas and new opportunities, and to do that we have to keep our library shelves open as well. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our host, Bridget Quinn. Thank you so much for having us. She is the CEO of this beautiful library.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Bysiewicz and Representative Johnson. It is really our pleasure and our honor to host this, and I really want to thank you for shining a light on such an important issue. I've had people ask me before, like, why are you celebrating banning books? We're not celebrating banning books, but this enables us to raise awareness that book banning, even in 2025, is something that public libraries and school libraries increasingly have to deal with and think about almost on a day-to-day basis. There are so many instances where institutions are having their collections, their programs, their events, their displays, questions and challenged because of the content that it represents. Public libraries ensure that the public's right and access to their First Amendment rights are fulfilled. We are that place. And when that is challenged or abridged or denied, we all lose in that effort. At the Hartford Public Library, we stand for inclusion, we stand for open dialogue, and for the belief that knowledge belongs to all of us. HPL is a place where people come not just to borrow books, but to share ideas, to explore resources, and to connect with each other. Every book on our shelves, every voice in our collection reflects the rich diversity of humanity and provides opportunities for us to find opportunities to learn about each other. And as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, there are, even though we've seen a little bit of a dip in the number of challenges, and I agree with you, I think there is a suppression in reporting, but that it has been increasing over the last few years. We've seen more and more challenges to content specifically about marginalized communities, but not just about those. There are some ever-present ones, including The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, constantly on that banned books list, and even ones closer to home, like Mark Twain, very regularly on banned books and challenged books list. Constantly, as well as The Bluest Eye. So these and other titles are here at the Hartford Public Library and in our locations, and they have displays this week, which is Banned Books Week that goes until the 11th. And those stories, when they're removed, we all lose the opportunity to learn more deeply about each other. Free people read freely. And that really is something that we take to heart, and we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to do that. And we invite people to come in, check out a book, start a conversation, and think about the world that we're in through the literature and the experiences that we provide. And let's all come together to learn more about each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll say, a year ago, Representative Johnson and I did a similar event at the New Haven Public Library, and they had a very large display of books that were on the list of titles that were regularly challenged in our state and across the country. And I thought that was great because that might get the creative juices flowing. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce State Representative Dominique Johnson, who's just been a huge advocate for ensuring that everyone in our state has the right to read.
Thank you for hosting us at this beautiful space. While I am from Norwalk, I proudly represent the 143rd District of Norwalk and Westport, where we have two wonderful library systems. I am so proud to be able to be living in a state where I can walk into your beautiful library, use my car, and in minutes be able to check the book out from you all and return it, and I did all. I am also a proud member of the legislature as Deputy Majority Leader and as co-chair of the LGBTQ+ caucus. We are small but mighty, 5 and growing, so I represent our caucus here today. I'm honored to be here always because as an avid lover of libraries since the time I was a little kid, they were my safe space. I was talking to some of your librarians. I always had the vibe of come as you are. That was every library I've been in, and that has never changed. And I want to thank each and every one of you. One of the reasons it's such a passion for me, early childhood literacy and literacy in general, is because we can see ourselves in the pages and in the stories. And when I was coming up, well, there may not have been a lot of books on the shelves about LGBTQ plus folks yet. I wanted to share that this book I have here is something that was really important to me when I was, it was 25 years ago this book came out, and I haven't seen it in a very long time. I donated my copy. I just checked it out, and it's an anthology of youth, particularly multicultural LGBTQ plus youth, and it's like an old friend, frankly. I read it cover to cover when I was the age of the authors. So to see it on the shelves, to know that somebody who is 20 in their 20s could see this like I did, and read the stories of my generation now, and they can see that they're not alone. They can see that we are there for them now as the next gen. I didn't have access to the stories of my elders in the same way, so this is progress, and this is an amazing asset for all of our communities when anybody of any age can come in and see themselves reflected on the shelves. There's something I've been thinking about a lot, and it gets down to the idea that either we write our own stories or somebody else is going to. And I think that one of the reasons the founders made it the First Amendment is because it is the first. It is perhaps the most important thing, the basis for our society. For us to be able to speak freely with one another in a civil manner so that we can come to greater understanding. And I don't know a better way than to read a book and to think about it in reflection of our own life. So I want to thank you all for the work you do. I will mention a little bit about the legislation. We're very proud to pass this bill this past year. I know Senator Cece Monner, my counterpart in the Westport delegation, is very integral in this work ongoing. It will ensure that all of our municipalities, all 169, will be thinking about how they can set up a protocol for potential challenges in their own communities. And it empowers local communities to do what others have done already. Luckily, where I live in Westport, there was already a protocol in Westport and Norwalk when this sort of thing happens. But it just allows the community to be, have transparency and have a voice in what they would like their young people to see on the shelves, such that someone can't deny what you could choose for your child. And that's just fundamentally a liberty, right? That you get to make these decisions for your own families. That you get to have the option to choose that book out or not. But that doesn't mean that book shouldn't exist on the shelves for anybody. And so I think that's with the spirit of that in mind, that's what we were aiming for, was to empower these local communities, and I'm glad that we can get that across the finish line. So thank you again, Lieutenant Governor, for being such an advocate and champion for our community. I think it's fitting. This is LGBTQ plus History Month. We're celebrating a lot of things in October, but one of them is our history. And so for our history to remain alive and accessible to the next generations, to be a part of this democracy, libraries are an amazing and very frankly, the crucial space for that to happen in our country and our state. Thank you.
And I just want for all our municipalities to know, because Representative Johnson was talking about each municipality is required to have a protocol, and that requirement went into effect in July of this year. So if you are the leader of a municipality or a librarian in a municipality and your town doesn't yet have a procedure, it's time to start working on that so that there will be a process that will be fair for everyone to use. So with that, we really appreciate our media partners coming, and we will take any questions. Anybody else? All right, Channel 61, you're good. All right. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.